All right, welcome to IA Command, the podcast, videocast, whatever we are. I'm Tori Ease.
I'm Johnny B815.
Matt Haida is not with us right now. He's on a conference call. He should be joining us a little bit later. And also with us, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little.
Hey everyone, I'm Justin, Unijustin on the FFG forums.
All right, and you just won a regional, right?
Yeah, Vancouver, Washington.
All right, and what list did you pick?
I ran 4x4, 4 Royal Guards and 4 Imperial Officers.
I love it.
Yeah. I was using 9 activation, but I decided to go with something a little bit more consistent.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing I've noticed with the Royal Guards is the damage output to Vader isn't as high.
Yeah.
So how did you play any Vaders?
No, there was no one running Vader, so he was the one thing I was concerned about, and no one was running him. So I had cripple and element of surprise and expose weakness and all that stuff in my list or in my deck as hopeful ways to slow him down or stop him in my missions, but no one was running him, so I didn't have to worry about it.
So how many people were there?
There was 10 players, including myself.
All right, so that's what, 3 rounds, and then
they did 4 rounds of Swiss and then cut to top 4. So, yeah.
All right. And how did that go?
It went really well.
Swiss.
Swiss went well. I played a 4x4 the first round, and managed to eke out a win versus him. He's a really good player, and we actually played in the final game. So the top 2 were 4x4, which is kind of unfortunate. But and then after that, I played a scum build, which was interesting. It was like a strain build. And then after that was a Vice build, and then a Royal Guard champion and officer build. And then the top 2 were another Royal Guard and officer, or Royal Guard champion and officer build, and then the 4x4.
So you won all of your Swiss matches?
Yeah, I won 4-0 in the Swiss rounds, and then made the top 2.
Very nice. And then you obviously won your final, so you
won
all of your games total. That's very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we were talking a little bit before this, and you said you had closed the gap for your command card. Tell us how that went.
I used it once, and it didn't really do anything. I just kind of used it to shift some guys around, step back out of base to base. In one instance, I actually was contemplating the other day how I don't really like that card. I don't think it's super useful on these maps with that list. They have, with the officers, the Royal Guards have so much mobility that you don't need to get 1 free movement out of them. It's like you get good value out of that card because you can move 8 guys with a single card, but they often don't need it. You're usually in the positions you want on the first or second round.
Right, and then it's a 2-point card, so that's definitely hurting your command.
Yeah.
So obviously this is one of the command cards that you would change. Were there any of the other ones that you would not change? I'm sorry, you would change.
Any other ones I would change? Let's see. I actually was really happy with the list that I put together, with the deck that I put together. So I can run through it really quickly. The ones that I paid points for were Provoke, 2 copies of Bodyguard, Inspiring Speech, 2 copies of Pummel, Close the Gap, Change of Plans, and New Orders, and Cripple. And I liked pretty much all of them except for Close the Gap. I think that Inspiring Speech is really powerful, New Orders is obviously really powerful, and Change of Plans is like a game-winning card. So,
especially when you can just deactivate one of your groups. So I'll just keep these guys here and attack. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Or like double move with the guys that are holding objectives. It's pretty bananas.
All right. So how did what card? Let's just talk about this. What card would you replace with Close the Gap? Any jump out with you?
Yeah, hold ground. I think I would swap out. I think that's a very good control card. Okay. I would run rather than Close the Gap. Kind of like the anti-Close the Gap, locking somebody in place, or multiple people in place if you can get adjacent to multiple people. It's pretty good.
That's definitely an interesting one. But otherwise, you liked it, huh? You did.
Yeah. I thought I didn't get a lot of use out of Cripple, actually. That's kind of an anti-Vader card. I played it once against a Royal Guard champion, and it came in handy, but otherwise I didn't really need it. Pummel is obviously really useful, and Bodyguard was actually a game-winning card as well, being able to... You kind of have to weigh when you want one of your royal guards to die in order to focus all of the royal guards around them, but I often find that it's better to kind of spread the damage around as long as you can and keep the 2 attacks available rather than getting like one focused attack or several focused attacks for a single turn.
Right. Yeah.
I would kind of like rotate them around bodyguard to defer damage to another guy in order to keep them all sort of half dead for a really long time. So,
especially when they have those blocks and stuff. Now, how close were your matches? You went 7-0.
6-0. Yeah.
Right.
I played my closest games were against the other 4x4 because it's just. I described it as it's like perfectly symmetrical violence. You're just going like blow for the entire game. It really comes down to, I guess, the person who's picked the right positions and can control them the best, and who gets stuns off more often, I think. Otherwise, my second closest game was against my buddy who runs Royal Guard Champion. So his list was Royal Guard Champion, Elite Stormtroopers, a unit of Royal Guard, and 4 officers. And that list was really tough. We were playing Leave No Evidence, and we basically secured all of the objective points for the map, and
Right.
Had cleared all that stuff, so there were no points left to farm off of the map, and he kind of turtled up and basically made it so that I killed a bunch of his stormtroopers and he just reinforced them back in a single round. So we got like two 3-point stormtroopers back immediately at the beginning of the turn, and then made it so that if I moved in to attack his stormtroopers, then his Royal Guard champion would just get to come out and make a free attack and then activate and attack and leave again. So it kind of became a weird standoff. We were poking at each other, but luckily I had the lead in points and I maintained it for the rest of the game. Managed to win, but that might have been my closest game. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to see him play like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Johnny, what other questions do I usually ask here? I'm not used to the visual stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
So what maps did you like? Were there any maps that you felt you could have done a little better on, or?
I think my least favorite map is probably no. The 3 maps that are currently in tournament rotation, like Royal Guards and Officers, are so good on them. Like the core map, the get to the ship and smuggle goods, is just like I dislike that map because it's almost unfair. Like I played the scum build on that map with smuggled goods, and it's like they can't win. It's really kind of crappy. It's not really balanced, which is kind of a shame. So I guess that's probably my least favorite map, just because the balance is so like in favor of fast troops that get free movement. It's kind of silly.
It's balanced for Rebels. If they do pull Son of Skywalker and Urgency and cards,
if they get all the cards that they need.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
So I was actually running. I had a friend who was playing. He hadn't been playing for very long, but he had already gotten 20 games in, and I saw him at the shop, and I was like, "Oh, I'll play Imperial Assault." So he didn't have his stuff with me or with him, so I pulled out a map that I hadn't played for a while, which was Get to the Ship. I was thinking this is a balanced one. He chose Rebels, I chose Imperial. It was fun for me.
Yeah. Like you'd think that it would be not super beneficial, but you can just, if you're playing a lot of Royal Guards, you can just crowd them all together around the ship and completely lock people away from it. You have enough bodies to do that, and you can do it really early, and then it's like, now you have to chew through my guys while I farm points off of this map tile, so.
Right, and they have to. Yeah, I don't like that one. I mean, it just gets you all in one spot. No tactics behind it. Well, Johnny, where's Johnny's one? It's very interesting having the webcams on here. So, do you listen to the show at all?
I do. Yes, I do. I've been listening for a while.
Have you watched our last episode with the UK champion?
Yeah, I did it just the other day. I thought it was really interesting. He played. I actually thought about taking a I thought about taking 3 Royal Guards and 1 Elite UWeb, and because I hadn't got my other Royal Guards in the mail from the eBay, so I was like, yeah, maybe I'll run an Elite UWeb, and I just kind of, they came in, and I decided, you know what, I'll run the 4x4. I feel like I'll have a hard time positioning the UWeb because I have no practice with it, like making sure that it has shots past my screen of Royal Guards.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely. And which is why I love his list, is it runs the 2 of them. And so you have less Royal Guards that's blocking you. I was actually, that was the list that I was running against my friend. And those E-Webs just kind of just kept shooting, but once those Royal Guards were up by the ship, I really didn't have any shots. There were a couple of turns where I did nothing but have to move my E-Webs around. I think I might have lost my officers or something. I don't really remember what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to give that list a try. It's definitely powerful. So.
But the reason why I ask is I don't really talk to people about the show outside the show. But how are you liking the new format versus the talk show?
I like it. I think it's pretty good. I think that the sound quality is better, and it's just people calling in. I think the quality varied too much. So you have people who were talking and you could barely hear them, and then some people were loud, or there was a lot of feedback. So I like this format. I think it's pretty good.
All right, so we'll probably keep this. And like I said, we're waiting on Matt Haida, but he's not here yet, and I'm going to go ahead and discuss the tweet that FFG made. So
cool.
I made the tweet.
Yeah. Well, hold on. So Johnny made a tweet to Fantasy Flight and asked them directly, because why not? I mean, whoever thinks to ask FFG directly what the new maps are going to be for Gen Con. You remember the question you asked there, Johnny?
No.
Okay. Well, it was something like, what are the maps going to be for Gen Con? And anyways, so the first map, I'm sure you guys all know, it's a current one. It's the Moisture Farm, which is Luke Skywalker's map. So it has the close to home and raiding party with the droid, not droids, but Tusken Raiders.
Well, before we get too far, they did say that they'll announce the maps with the tournament rules later this month.
They did say that, but also in that same tweet, they named the 3 maps that will be, or I assume they will be. I mean, it's the tweet was interesting. I'll give it that. The reason why I'm a little skeptical is the maps they chose. The first map, which I'm not too surprised, is Royal Guard Champion map. And then the other map, which I want to discuss first, is the IG-88 Assassin Droid map, the Ord Mantell Junkyard. There's 2 parts to this one. There's Mind of Its Own and Dangerous Game. And Mind of Its Own, that's the one with the laser that each time it advances 2 levels towards the top of the map. And anybody that's controlling a terminal at the end of the round will gain 5 points. At the beginning of the round, the laser will move 2 points. And they have the laser positioned in interesting spots where if you're controlling a terminal, it's either going to hit the bottom of the terminal or it's going to skip the 2. So there's going to be one turn where you're going to be forced to make a decision to either move your guys or take the objective. But what are your Justin? What's your opinion on the Ord Mantell maps?
So I've played that map before. That's actually the I think that was the second game of skirmish I'd ever played, and it was in the first tournament that I played. They just picked random maps for play, and I like that map a lot. And I like that. That's the only mission I've played. I haven't played. I think that one's Mind of Its Own, right?
Right, Mind of Its Own.
Yeah, I haven't played the other one, Dangerous Game, but or Most Dangerous Game, or something like that.
Most Dangerous Game. That's where you choose one of your cards and you make him your bounty hunter. When he kills a unit, the unit that he kills is worth twice as many points.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I haven't played that one. I liked the Mind of Its Own. I thought it was pretty fun. It is weird. Yeah, there is like the panic switch element to it, where you have to sort of either lose a guy or just like ditch and give your opponent a couple or 5 victory points. It's weird. It's cool because it forces heavy combat. It's a very small map, but like you said with Get to the Ship, there's not a lot of movement. It's a lot of just like fighting in a hallway and slowly stepping away from a laser beam from space.
So I think some interesting units for this one is going to be the ATST.
Yep, the list I played against in that map had an ATST, and it was cool. He sort of stayed in the back and just shot all the way down the length of the map. It was pretty interesting.
See, what I'm thinking is one team's going to try to come from the bottom, which is going to be a mistake because there's that one terminal there at the bottom, and if you just crowd that hallway, you're going to make it so he won't be able to advance since it's 2 movement points for each one.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to swarm that up. I'm very interested to see how that is. Let me just check the Mind of Its Own. I'm
You
curious.
have to turn 4 till it really is a problem.
Yeah, I think it takes a couple turns to get to the terminal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see, I bring this up because these 2 maps, Mind of Its Own especially, and the Data Heist on the Kuwait space station, which we'll discuss a little bit, makes the Close the Gap card very interesting to use. I assume you get to choose. It both says at the start of the round, so I would assume somebody gets to choose to play their command card.
Well, missions start first. Missions always start first. So.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah. Well, no, that's how it rolls. It goes by missions, and then I'm not sure what. But.
All right, never mind. That does not make that card useful. That card is garbage. I was thinking you could use Close the Gap to
get out of the laser beam.
And then get out of there. All right. All right, and then the other one is the Bounty Hunter one, which I believe this is actually really good for Darth Vader. I mean,
yeah, he's sort of a beast. That's like even more risk reward than he already is, though. If you make him worth double points, you know.
Well, he's not worth double points though.
Oh, you would name him your bounty hunter.
You would make him your bounty hunter. He is worth double points if their bounty hunter kills him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
36 points, which is quite a bit.
That's most of the points you need.
Well, that would be that would be an interesting battle there. So let's go ahead and move on from the IG-88. And if Matt doesn't log on this time, we'll discuss this later without him. I'm sure Tournament Rules will probably be out confirming all of this, especially now that we've kind of leaked it. Although Fantasy Flight's the one that leaked it, so we're just kind of the first people to. I'm surprised the forums, nobody's on the forums have caught that the tweet was out.
We need to step up the forum game. I need to start posting more actively on there.
I know. Oh yeah, I usually do Facebook, and I haven't seen anything on the Facebook groups. So the other map is the Royal Guard Champion map, which is the first one is Data Heist. The doors are locked at the start of each round. You can control a terminal. Well, if you control a terminal, you get to choose one of the 2 doors that opens that's next to your deployment zone, and you can send you can send your guys in there. At the end of the round, the doors close. Then whoever controls that room scores 10 points. That's a fun one. I saw Team Covenant play this one. I haven't played this one myself, but I saw Team Covenant. It looks really fun. The one player had Darth Vader and expected to be able to throw Darth Vader into the data core room, and that would be a very easy assumption to do because you get 10 points each round if you control it. So you just want to throw your big gun in there, clean everything up.
Like in you side of it, control the terminal though.
Right, but the problem is he wasn't able to control the terminals. He never got Vader into the data core room. The other guy got some of his stormtroopers in, and then just won from that.
Yeah, I played that It's interesting. You have to you do have to dedicate some guys to kind of hang out by the door in case you can get it open, and then get them in there. But it can't be too many guys. It's got to be just enough, which is tricky. And it shouldn't be Darth Vader either.
And then the other one is incoming transmission. The only weird rule is a figure occupying a space outside the deployment zone cannot interact to open the door. And the only thing this does is it doesn't allow you to open up the door, run through, open up the other door, and go straight into the opponent's deployment zone. And I mean that's like 3 spaces, and there's already conflict in 3 spaces. That's that's pretty insane. So what they did was you can open up the door on your side, but if your opponent chooses not to open up the door, he doesn't have to. There are 3 relay stations, and at the end of each round, you place 1 strain token on each relay station. Then the player who controls the relay station may discard that relay station to gain 3 victory points for each strain on it. So this would definitely be an interesting decision if you, say, take the data core room, your opponent completely ignores it, so you send maybe 1 or 2 guys in, he sends all of his guys south to the other 2 terminals, relay stations, whatever they are, since they're both in the same spot. Data core is kind of way up here, the other 2 are down here. It would be interesting if you send all of your guys down, completely ignore the data core, how long you wait until you discard the data core, because each round you get 3 victory points until you discard it, and then you're not getting anything. So, I mean, do you wait until you have control, and as soon as you have control, do you go for the victory points, or do you wait? I mean,
yeah, I think it's one of those turn-by-turn decisions you have to make. There's a lot of those in this game.
Absolutely, and this map I'm really happy about,
It's very
especially incoming transmission.
Well, I think for the one that's in the room, I think if I can control that, I discard it right away because I'm getting 3 points, and then I just don't have to deal with it again.
Well, okay, so imagine you have stormtroopers. You just leave 1 stormtrooper in there. All of his guys are south. You're just getting 3 victory points every round.
Well, yeah, but odds are your opponent's going to have something back there because of that room.
Well, maybe. I mean, and if he orders one of his guys back up to there, you could definitely have gotten yourself in a tight spot if he recontrols the point. But if you're pretty sure he's not going to recontrol it, why not just wait it out and get points?
I guess, but that's one guy that I can have battling rather than...
I don't think a stormtrooper is going to matter much.
Yeah, I always dedicate a stormtrooper or an officer to a terminal anyway, so...
There you go. So, speaking of which, I should have probably asked this in the interview earlier, but what did you do with terminals? Did you try to actively go for them? Ignore them?
Yeah, it depended on the mission and how I felt I was doing. If I got a really quick early lead, I would generally not dedicate a guy to a terminal, and I don't think I ever dedicated a Royal Guard to a terminal. It was always an officer. So after those initial 4 free move actions on the first round, it's sort of like you can kind of get away with just dropping off 1 officer and having him go do terminal duty. And there's a couple maps like Massassi Ridge. You deploy in the the larger section of the map. You can have an officer order somebody and then also move adjacent to the terminal in the first round, which is what I'll do on that map. And I did that on that map the 2 times I played on it. So not a big deal. I'm generally speaking, I think it's worth it to just dedicate an officer to drawing cards off the terminal. I didn't do it on the Moisture Farm map on either of the missions I played on it, because the one
you're just going to get the points and the cards anyways because you're all.
Yeah, and the one that I would have been going for was in the doors section. And it's sort of like I'm not going to waste actions like opening doors and getting a guy in there, so I just kind of ignored it and didn't bother with it, and it worked out fine. But Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of situational. I do like the extra card. It can be really big. Like, I know I don't try to depend on the command cards, but if you get enough of them, you can put together combinations that win you the game. You know, like my last game, I basically won because of change of plans. I had it was Lost Knowledge, and I had basically raced the other 4x4 to the 3 objective tokens. The one at the topmost part of the map, he got to first because he won the initiative and activated first. So I rushed a guy there next to it as well. So I basically I put him in a position where he had to either activate another officer and command and move another Royal Guard, or activate that Royal Guard to pick up the holocron, or otherwise I would get it. So he activated that, ran away with it, activated the other guy, and kind of moved him out and didn't get his free movement from an officer on the second activation. And then on my second activation, I moved my 2 Royal Guards into positions next to the other 2, and then officered them into positions with the other 2, and then activated them, picked them up, ran half the way down the map, and then played change of plans to get another free activation with them by tapping out one of the units of Royal Guards in my deployment zone and getting 20 points, like in the first round of the game. It was like, I don't know, you can put together some crazy combos with the cards. Like, I don't like to rely on them, but you have to be able to see the combos that you get and make use of them. So getting the cards is important.
I'm not sure how effective getting command cards will be on the terminals in these maps, because they're all of the terminals except for IG-88's map.
I was going to say IG-88's isn't a
you lose
really
one. Right? Yeah.
Talking about the one up in the corner.
That one, there's 2 of them. For mission A, yeah, you'll probably get it. Somebody's going to get it, and then whoever gets it is probably going to win that map. Otherwise, like you said, you're not going to be able to actively rely on getting command cards because you're both trying to get those terminals. And if your opponent lets you have that, then right there is a mistake. Now, it would definitely be interesting, and I was counting this out on the Royal Guards Champions map, which is this one here. I don't know how well we can see that, but if you start in the red zone, is it red zone? Right. If you start in the red zone and you take there's a terminal about right in here. If you let your opponent have that one and you have a guy close to it, you can just jump up through his door into the terminal. So if he has like a stormtrooper waiting by to just throw in that room, if you control red, you can just throw one of your guys in through his door. But if you're blue, it's much harder to get through his door just because it's much further away. I'm not sure if I like that very much. So what I might do is I might send all my guys to that middle objective, especially my fast guys, and then allow my opponent to take that objective at the far corner of the map, that terminal, think he has it, and then I just slip one of my my Darth Vader or Royal Guards in there. That would be interesting. We'll have to see how that one goes. So, anyways, Haida didn't join us. We'll talk more about this next week with Haida. Justin, you have any thoughts about these maps?
No, I haven't. I've only played. Well, obviously, I played the Luke one a lot. I like the Luke one. I've only played one mission from each of the other ones, and I don't really remember them. That was sort of when I was learning skirmish, and I kind of switched focus to the current tournament maps for regionals so that I could get a lot of playtime on them and be prepared. So I don't really know the other maps in the game. I have no idea what the Rebel Trooper map is. I have no idea what the Saboteur map is. Like, I've never seen them. I just buy those figures and haven't looked at the map yet. I've only been focusing on the ones that are in rotation. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool when they rotate. These ones rotate out, and I can start playing on different maps and figuring out the strategies there.
Now, I assume you'll probably be going to Worlds. That's just an assumption. You seem to be really into this game.
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely. I wanted to go for X-Wing as well, but that one sold out like instantly. So
yes,
yeah, that was kind of frustrating. But Yeah, I've got my guaranteed spot for Imperial Assault, so I'm definitely going to go. And it's also on a Saturday, so I don't have to take like Wednesday through Friday off of work, which is cool.
There you go. What about Gen Con? Are you planning to go out there?
No, I wasn't. Gen Con's another one that I always talk about going to every year and never manage to go. They sell out pretty quickly too, don't they?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if Imperial Assault is. X-Wing sold out. It took it about a day and a half to sell out for X-Wing.
When did the tickets go on sale in like May, or is it later than that?
I think it was a little later than May.
Okay. Yeah, it's also like it's kind of in a bad time. I have like family visiting and stuff, so can't really make the time to go out there. It's this month, right?
Gen Con is going to be at the end of this month.
Yeah. So kind of a bad time. I would have liked to have gone. I have the buy and all that stuff. So, but you know, not gonna be able to make it. But I am gonna go to Worlds and have plenty of time to practice and paint up my figures and all that stuff. So,
very nice.
Yeah, one of my buddies from south of Portland won the X-Wing regionals at the same store that I won the Imperial Assault regionals at. So he's going for the X-Wing regionals, which is cool.
I've only got one guy left in my collection to pan out.
Han Solo.
Han Solo.
I'm excited. Once the alt stormtroopers come out, I'm going to do a head swap on Han and Luke and have them in stormtrooper outfits. So yeah, so we match an alternate Luke Skywalker card. It would be pretty cool.
I like that one. Yeah, I plan on buying another Han Solo just for that. I was actually hoping that would be the map. That way I'd have another reason to buy another.
Have you played his map at all?
What's that?
Oh, have you played Han Solo's map at all? That's like the Sappic game or something?
Right, that one was an interesting one. It seems like you could exploit it a little bit by...
Like an accumulating pot of points or something?
Well, I was thinking you put one of your guys next to the wall because that would make him the closest, but I don't know if that would actually make him the closest since they're not adjacent. I don't know what the rules are behind that.
For it to matter, you have to control it, so it's not like...
Yeah, if they weren't adjacent spaces, you couldn't control it.
Well, I was thinking the thugs. I was thinking about the thugs in the second mission.
I haven't played that. He's another one I bought for Inspiring Speech. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's really good. I mean.
I haven't played him. I think I've played Rebels like twice. I really like Rebel Blast. I think that's a really good list, but it's inconsistent and kind of sucks in a couple of the current tournament maps. So.
Well, how do you feel about? I think it could do well in Ord Mantell.
Yeah, it'll do very well.
I think it does well in all the maps now.
Well, Ord Mantell, I mean, this is what a lot of figures are going to worry about. But that hallway is just so narrow. I think an ATST actually will do quite well on that one. So we might see more ATSTs.
I was actually planning on switching to Rebel Blast to start playing in the lead-ups to, I guess, November, just to kind of see if I can break them wide open, I guess. But
you know, Haida mentioned this, and I have to agree with him now that I've tried it out a little bit, but those Elite Saboteurs and Saboteur list, the Rebel Blast list, it really falls victim to Blast. So I really think we'll see more General Weiss and I don't know. I think this opens up the ATST game.
He's weird. General Weiss is weird. I played against. There was actually 3 people running General Weiss builds at this tournament out of 10, and he's such an awkward figure. He wants to be an officer, but he also wants to be an ATST, and kind of like you're really getting the full potential of either part of his like dual personality. I don't know.
Right.
He's weird. I like him, and I like Endless Reserves, but that's the other thing, right? Like you want to run him with a lot of like solid troopers, but like regular stormtroopers are terrible. You don't want to like fill out, 3 squads worth of regular stormtroopers. You want the elite ones, but you can't get as many into the list. I don't know. He's weird. He's a weird guy.
How many points is he?
Well, even on the Royal Guard map, you can, because the upper side is going to come down, I think Blast will still be effective on that map too.
So, I think a very interesting list with General Weiss that I've been thinking about is General Weiss 4 officers, which I think that's way too many, but
the standard.
Fun. You could probably make one of those an elite, whatever. It probably not a bad idea. And then like 2 EWUBs would be a lot of fun because with the 4 officers, you move your EWUBs up, and then you also have General Weiss that can do whatever. And with the hallway, especially on Ord Mantell, you get the overlapping fire.
Search range, yeah.
So you just control the hallway with your 2 EWUBs, and then you have your General Weiss right behind it. And then, of course, if you're trying to control top-bottom, if you have all your guys on the top facing downward, and your opponent tries to go from the top, they're not going to be able to get across all of the spaces. Not to mention, if for some reason, and this could be a lot of fun too, if you're running from the bottom down, or top. If you run from the top to the bottom with your guys, so you have the 2 EWUBs down, your General Weiss, whatever, I don't know. And there's just enough spaces, you'll have to calculate this. But if you jump General Weiss over the EWUBs and jump on one of their figures and pushes them down into the laser,
yeah,
that would be. I think that could be a lot of fun.
I often forget about that rule that they displace figures.
Right, because they can't go up anymore. So
Yeah.
they have to go straight down.
Just sort of squeeze them down into the laser beam. It's like a tube of toothpaste. Yeah, that's cool.
So, on Ord Mantell, I think it could be a lot of fun, and especially if he's your bounty hunter.
Actually, Nexu would be kind of interesting on that map too. But
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I played against the scum list. I played against. It was like 2 elite Nexus, a regular Nexu, 2 elite or 2 regular Trandoshan hunters, and I want to say Gideon. Obviously, he's like the best scum model, Gideon Argus.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how good elite Nexus are. I've never used them, and I've never played against them before. And they get like auto cleave 2 and auto bleed and stuff. It's pretty awesome, and they're really good value for 6 points. So that'd be interesting in that map with narrow hallways. You can kind of do the same thing where you force people away and stuff. But
Oh yeah. I only think about ATSTs being the only ones that can shove, but I guess the EWUBs and the Nexus can do it as well.
Yeah, anything that's 4 points or 4 spaces. I guess ATSTs are 6 though.
Yeah, ATS. See, that's why I think about it. Is you're actually so regular figures. That's interesting. I never think of the EWUBs being able to. No, don't you have to be massive?
Oh, maybe you have to be massive.
They don't have a mobile or massive.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha. So then, Nexus are still good for clogging a hallway, but yeah.
Well, no, Nexus have mobile, so Nexus can get past the.
Yeah, but they can't just end their
can't
movement on
displace
top of
guys.
something.
Yeah. No.
Which is what we were thinking about, which would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be really good. I like that they have a special rule that just makes them like descent movement. So I'm a big fan of descent. That's kind of why I started playing this game. And
it's very cool.
Yeah, and like there's that large monster movement in descent is completely wacky, and they kind of fixed it in this game.
So yeah, I think General Weiss with 4 officers, 2 elite EWUBs. I think that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, I don't think so.
Well, come on, you got all that movement speed from your officers.
I mean, just counting squares, and it takes you too long to get places.
Okay, hold on.
It's a very static build.
Well, we don't know what the new command cards are going to be for. What is the new Stormtrooper that comes out? But he's a heavy weapon.
Yeah, heavy Stormtrooper.
General Weiss is a heavy weapon.
Yeah.
Your
webs are heavies.
So there's going to be a lot of heavies command cards. There already are a lot that are good, and then you have your leader cards. I think it could do. I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the heavy Stormtroopers will probably be very good with General Weiss. The elite ones you can't summon though. You can't
right,
which is kind of a drag, but they seem pretty good, and you can move them with General Weiss, so that's kind of cool.
Right. Well, it was a lot of fun thinking about theory crafting these maps, but I'm interested to see what Haida has to say about my General Weiss.
It's the same thing I just said.
Yeah. I generally tend to avoid static lists. I like lists that have a lot of mobility. So, not the list for me, but I might give it a shot someday.
So I have a question before we go. What do you guys think of these maps compared to the other ones? It seems like they're more attacking rather than trying to get to objectives for the most part. Because even on Royal Guard Champions, you still have to control those terminals, so you're still trying to attack each other to control.
Justin, you want to go with that one?
Yeah, I like it. There's no objective grabs, right, in this one? There's just controlling points.
Controlling points. What is the... I often forget.
All 6 missions don't have any retreat.
Well, no, Close to Home has the Moisture Farm has a little bit of an objective.
Yeah, but that's a little different.
Yeah, it's different because everybody usually gets all of the objectives.
Yeah, it's like killing Tusken Raiders or like dropping your tokens on the points.
Right.
Yeah, I think I like it. I still think that Imperial officers and Royal Guards together are going to be one of the top lists. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think Imperial officers are a bit too good. I'm not so sure that Royal Guards are too good. I think they're very efficient, but Imperial officers sort of raise them up to a level that's probably too powerful.
Too good. Right. Yeah. I agree.
I think that they'll still be really good on those 3 maps, but I think that it encourages taking like bruisers, like Darth Vader. I think Darth Vader will see a little bit of a resurgence on those maps, and I think that like the Rebel Hero, some of the good Rebel Hero characters, like Fen Cygnus, you might see a little bit more of.
Really? Why? Okay, so you mentioned Fen.
He's got Assault, which is really good if you're playing like a relatively static map, like the Imperial or the Ord Mantell map.
Okay.
And he gives other Rebel Troopers Assault, which is cool.
But he gives 1.
Right, 1. I like Elite Rebel Troopers. I think they're pretty good. They're hard to work into a list, though. I think Rebel Saboteurs are still better, but I don't know. I kind of like. I have a soft spot for Fen. I think he's cool, but we'll see if we can get him to work.
I think Elites could work really good on a Royal Guard Champions map.
So I probably should post these pictures, but I'm really proud of my Fen. Like, I gave him this red gun, and it just pops so much. I'm so happy about it. Like, if you're gonna paint him, give him a red gun.
He looks like an old school guardsman from GW with the red gun.
Okay, do you guys have any last minute comments before I end the call?
Yeah. Any last minute comments?
No, thank you. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was cool to talk about the game. Yeah, I don't get to play. Like once a week, I'll get a game in, maybe less. So it's cool to talk about it whenever I can. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, and like I said, if we do talk show again, feel free to call in. But I like Google Plus more. We're using this more, trying to iron out the kinks.
Yeah, it's really the interface is super streamlined and easy to use too. It's cool.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, I'm Tor Ease for IA Command. Haida's not here. Sorry, Haida. Johnny, if you want to go ahead and exit out.
I'm Johnny B815.
All right. Until next time.
Look forward to be with you.